Hey there, welcome to the Astro Psyche. I'm Shawna, your counseling astrologer. This is your weekly astrology forecast for October 10th through the 16th. And this week is about intuitive action. So we have Mars making a very important aspect to Neptune. We have some action that's happening in Libra as well. And so I'm excited to share the astrology of this week with you from a depth psychological perspective so that you can make the most out of this week. Now, the first thing that I'll share with you is we have Mercury. So we're following Mercury's path post retrograde. So Mercury was retrograde in Libra and Virgo. This week, Mercury is direct still, right? And it's changing from Virgo into Libra. And Mercury is our mind, our communication, our thought process. When Mercury makes this change, the way that I see this working is this week, you're continuing to explore and elaborate any changes or things that you were reviewing in the last month. So any changes that you decided that you wanted to make, whether those are large or small, or things that you wanted to explore further, kind of like these oh yes, like these new aha moments or awarenesses, those can be put more into action, and there can be more of a physical manifestation of those things. The other piece of this change is that Mercury will oppose Jupiter this week, and Jupiter is about looking at things from different perspectives than you normally would. It's about pulling back and looking at the big picture. So I see that happening for you this week, where you're able to really pull back and look at the big picture, to not take things so like what's happening, right? What do I need to do right now? It's more about looking at the long-term goals, long-term plans, and the broad vision for what you really want for yourself. The other piece that's happening this week that's very supportive for that is we have the Sun and Venus. Sun and Venus in Libra also will make a trine to Saturn. So this is a harmonious aspect. We really like trines because things flow easily, and it's usually experienced in a way that is supportive. Now, the Sun is our conscious awareness, our ego, our identity, that unique spark to you. Venus is relationships and finances and even self-worth as well. So when these come into contact with Saturn, this is a great opportunity to continue to develop more solidity, more security, more strong foundations, and to have those in your relationship, but also in your life and your own sense of self, because we're dealing with the Sun and Venus here. So I really like this aspect for you, and the way to lean into this more is to look at where in your life you can further develop a sense of clear communication, clear and honest acknowledgement of your needs and your desires and your wishes. To be clear, not just with others, but with yourself as well, what it is that you really want, and to state that, to say that in a kind way, but also a very direct way, and to acknowledge what it is that you need to feel a sense of security. Saturn is so much about providing us with a secure and stable base. And so there's this coming together this week around stability of the self, of the inner self, the Sun, and then stability of Venus in relationships. Now, I like this aspect for you because it's very stabilizing when we have another aspect that is very destabilizing. And so sometimes this happens with astrology. We have conflicting energies. So it's kind of like we have a mix of things going on at any one time, such as life. So this destabilizing aspect is Mars square Neptune. So Mars in Gemini, Mars is about our physical energy, our vitality, assertiveness, courage. It's also about anger, frustration, angstiness, And Mars is about action. It's about taking physical, real world action. Now, Mars has been in Gemini for quite some time because it's moving very slowly because it is approaching its retrograde process. So that makes this aspect super important because it means that Mars is making this aspect for a long period of time. And Mars is going to retrograde very close to this aspect. So it's exact to this week, and we're going to be, my point is it's exact to this week, and then we're going to be feeling this for some time. So we get to really move into Mars-Neptune. Now, Neptune is about dissolving boundaries. Neptune is a symbol of anything that is unseen. So unseen energy, intuition, divination, spirituality, religion, altered states of consciousness, such as meditation, but also substances. So Neptune in a problematic way is a symbol of seeing, of illusion, and seeing something the way that you want it to be versus the way that it is in objective reality. So like the rose-colored glasses. Neptune is also about, it can be about intentional deceit, but I feel Neptune is more about like just not seeing things clearly. It's kind of like the smoke and mirrors effect. Neptune is also associated with excessive substance use or any kind of intoxication, whether that's problematic or not. Relationally, Neptune is also a symbol of relationship dynamics where there's codependence or where there's escapism or disassociation. And so I'm not saying that to say that these things will happen to you or that they should happen to you, but we're getting like a broad spectrum of Neptune. And this is important because there's so much around Neptune that is illusionary. And when we have Mars, which is about physical action and assertion, meeting with Neptune, there's like this diffusing and dissolving and kind of like shape-shifting that happens around our ability to take action, our ability to be assertive. And so what is this going to look like? I think that a part of this is that physical energy, physical vitality might be a little bit lower. I find that people that have this Mars-Neptune in aspect in their birth chart, they tend to be have lower energy. Typically, they need more time in solitude, more introspective time. And they also tend to be highly intuitive and very much drawn towards any kind of spiritual or religious work, and especially any kind of meditative movement kind of work. So anything, whether that's walking or surfing or doing Tai Chi or Qigong, I think the benefit of this aspect is that you can get into your intuitive sense. You can get into that moment of the numinous or the spiritual through meditative movement, through being consciously aware of your physical body and moving in a conscious way, moving in an intentional way, in a way that is, Neptune is also a symbol of creativity and art and music, that repetitive kind of like enchanting kind of movement that can happen. So this is also an aspect that would be conducive to any kind of creative work or artwork or contemplation. So the other piece of this is that Mars is in the sign of Gemini. And Gemini is very much about communication. It's about speech, the written word, the spoken word. Gemini is ruled by Mercury, which is the planet that rules over divination, intuition, and also this moving between worlds. So there's a lot here for you around tapping into your intuitive sense, tapping into your spiritual sense or your religious sense, and communicating with that part of yourself that thinks more spatially or artistically or creatively, the non-linear part of your brain, part of your being. All right, so with all that being said, I'm going to pull a tarot card for you. So if you have a question or a topic, something that you want to gain more insight on, you can hold that in your heart. Feel your breath, feel your body. Okay, so I pulled, so this is from a deck called the Good Tarot. I pulled the Four of Fire. I'll show you the card. It's a little glossy. So there's this fae person with four little lights here. So this card in this deck is also the Four of Wands. So if you use a traditional deck, it's the Four of Wands. So I love this because the fire, the wands, that's very Mars kind of energy. And then we have four. So four is a number of stability, a number of stability, security, and it's very foundational. It's very Saturnian. The Four of Wands is also a card in tarot that's associated with celebrations and unions and coming together, and it has like a very cohesive and braiding kind of effect. So like when things really come together. So you can take that as you wish. And the way that I would interpret it is the way to really work with the energy of this week is to emphasize that Venus, Sun, Saturn aspect that we talked about this week, to lean into those relationships that you have that make you feel calm, comfortable, stable, those relationships and situations that are dependable. Those are going to be very helpful for you this week. So I hope that you found this helpful. I am sending you lots and lots of love and wishing you a wonderful week. Bye for now.